Welcome to the Living the Dream podcast with Curveball. If you believe, you can achieve. Hello and welcome to another episode of Living the Dream with Curveball. I am your host, Curveball, and today I am joined by veteran singer and songwriter Randy Seedorff. Randy has been writing and performing ever since the age of 11, since his mother gave him a guitar. So he has over 30 years of experience. We're going to talk to him about how we got started in his music career, and we're going to talk to him about a 1999 event that profoundly changed his life. Randy, thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to visit with you today and talk about our life and music. It's an honor to be with you.
Absolutely. Pleasure is mine. Why don't you start off by giving the audience a little background about yourself, anything that you might want them to know?
I grew up in a big family. I have seven brothers and sisters. So, with my mom and dad and seven brothers and sisters in a three-bedroom house with one bathroom, it was wild and crazy around our house growing up. I grew up in a small town and there wasn't a whole lot to do except to work and play music. And our family was musical. My mother played piano, guitar. She was a country music artist. So we spent a lot of our time singing together and hanging out at home with our family. I've been at this for a while. I pastor at a church in Independence, Missouri, and that's kind of what my music grew out of. That's kind of how it all began. So that's my life nowadays.
Well, I know you joined a bluegrass group in 1992, so talk about that and tell us about that group.
Okay. Green Side Up was, I don't know if you're familiar with bluegrass music or not, but it's really like roots music. A lot of it is Appalachian music that came over from Europe in really at the beginning of our country, really back then. People who migrated here from other countries brought their music. Bluegrass music is like there is no smoke and mirrors in bluegrass music. It's all acoustic music. You just stand up in front of a microphone and play. Some of the most skilled musicians in the world are bluegrass musicians, excuse me. Sam Bush, Bela Fleck, the recently deceased Tony Rice. They're just fabulous players who would be really successful in any genre of music that they chose, but they chose acoustic music. Green Side Up was a regional bluegrass music band that I played, and I was the lead singer and guitarist in. We played nearly every weekend somewhere except Christmas and Thanksgiving. So minimum, we were doing 50 dates a year, and all of us worked full-time jobs. So, but we had a great time doing that music. We did a lot of outdoor festivals, which is common in bluegrass music. We would play a Friday night show, two shows on Saturday, and a Sunday morning gospel show in a weekend.
Sounds like you guys were very busy. Speaking
Yeah.
of gospel and stuff like that, talk about the event in 1999 that changed your life and made you rededicate your life to gospel music.
Well, I was not living for the Lord at that time in my life, and I was really involved in a lot of addictive behavior. To be honest with you, I had it was just really a dark time in my life. I was in the restaurant business that I was managing. A knock at the door one Sunday morning, and four men burst in the back door, ended up robbing me. They made me open the safe with a gun to my head, kind of ransacked the office, and they tied me up face down on the floor. Before they were getting ready to leave, they had a conversation about whether they were going to shoot me or whether they were going to cut my throat before they left. So in that moment when I was on the floor, those stories that you hear about people having their life flash in front of their eyes, those are all true, by the way. So I repented when I was there on the floor, and I asked God to forgive me for my ways and the way I'd been living. I hadn't got that out of my mouth, and there was a honk on the horn in the parking lot. Those gentlemen left without shooting me. So in my heart, I felt like God had saved me for a purpose. And so I've been on the path that I'm on ever since. God has been my conversion is and my faith has been the driving force in my life ever since.
Well, let's talk about that purpose because it also caused you to create a new group. So tell us about the new group and the things that you guys are doing now and the things that you're working on now.
Cool. Well, thanks for the opportunity to do that. The name of our group is Soul Purpose, and it's spelled SOUL. We're doing a variety of things right now. We just partnered with a prison ministry group called Rise Up. We've already scheduled several concerts in the Missouri Corrections System. We're going to be playing this summer in Rolla, Missouri, Chillicothe, Missouri, Boonville, Jeff City, at multiple corrections facilities. And then we have several outdoor festivals scheduled as well. Soul Purpose was created to go to the places where men and women and it was created for men and women that would never come to a church. That, maybe that's just not their thing or their place, right? They wouldn't feel comfortable doing that. So we go to settings where we can go to them. We've played at barbecue contests, car shows, at strip malls and parking lots, at grand openings of grocery stores. We've played in clubs, wherever they'll let us talk about the gospel. That's what we do. Enjoy doing that. We play churches and we do all that too. But the primary thing we do is try to use the vehicle of music to take the love of God to people. So that will take us to some unusual places.
You guys just put out a new project here in this past January. Why don't you kind of tell us about that and tell us what it's about?
Okay. The new project's called Begin Again. It's really about me starting over and going back to my roots. My roots are really country music. Like I said before, my mother was a country music artist back in the 1950s, had her own radio program, did a lot of personal appearances and so forth. My uncle was a country music artist. And so that just kind of got into my blood. While we've released a couple of different contemporary Christian music albums, I really wanted to do something that was more focused on how I got started in music. And so Begin Again is a combination of some favorite cover songs that were really special to my family and some new original tunes that were kind of inspired by that heritage that I was talking about earlier.
Well, how can people find your music? Give us some contact information where we can connect with the group.
RandySeedorff.com, and that's spelled RandySeedorff.com. On my website, there are links to all of our music. Our new single is there, and there's a lyric video that you can download for free of our new single. It's available on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, Deezer, iTunes, Amazon Music, YouTube, Pandora, all of the digital platforms. Our new album is scheduled to release April 2nd on all those digital platforms.
And what's going to be the name of that new album?
Begin
And what is it
Again.
going to be talking about?
The new album is Begin Again, and it's about starting over. And I think if you did a survey of everybody, of all your listeners, they'd probably want to take 2020 and throw it out the window and start over, wouldn't they?
Oh, I'm pretty sure they would. I'm sure there's a lot of people that definitely would want to do that.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we're doing. We're looking at this new project as just a way to restart what we've been doing for all these years. But really, a good way to start is to go back to your roots, to begin again. I think of it a lot like someone who's out surfing, right? You go out and when you're body surfing out at the ocean, you grab a wave and you ride it all the way to into shore, right? And then you paddle out and you grab another wave. That's kind of what this project is about. Just starting over, and we're just paddling out into the ocean to grab another wave and ride it into the shore.
Absolutely. Now I do this. This is a surprise to all the singers that come on. Why don't you do a little something for us a cappella so we can kind of hear what you sound like
Okay.
and, just let the audience hear what you're doing. Maybe you can do a little bit of your single.
Okay. I walk by faith, not by sight. Forget the brakes, 'cause the gas pedal's on the right. No hesitating, it's time to be brave. It's gonna be great. Oh, today is a day to live fearless. There's a little bit for you.
Yeah, that is great. I am sure people are gonna definitely want to be checking out that single, Begin Again. You have any final thoughts for the audience before we close? As a musician or a pastor, anything that you want to talk about before we close it out?
Well, I just would encourage everyone to stay positive during these times. I think we're getting close to the end of all this when we can at least begin to get back to our lives as we knew them before. And everybody, please just stay positive and stay hopeful, and know that you're loved and know that you're prayed for. I appreciate you having me on today and having the opportunity to talk to your listeners. I really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, and you guys make sure you pick up that album on April 2nd. That'll be Good Friday. And go check out that new single, Begin Again, randyseedorff.com. Randy, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to be with you today.
And listeners, please be sure to follow, rate, review, share, tell a friend after listening. For more information on the Living the Dream podcast, visit www.djcurveball.com. Until next time, stay focused on living the dream.